Good morning, everybody. This is the Pokemon Iceberg. Sorry for the overdramatic intro, but yeah, I'm really excited to start because Pokemon has been a favorite franchise of mine since I was a kid. Oops, hit the table. And yeah, special thanks to the YouTuber. Names aren't my specialty. She made the video, the thumbnail, which to me is something really, I'm happy to see. So probably the most boring entry on this list, but the EXP sharing is the way that Pokemon's we're talking about Gen 1 by the way, but like in this a Pokemon's XP gets halved in order to share among the rest of the party. This is basically the communism of the Pokemon world. Yeah, not much to say here. It's an item. Moving on. Bear with the boring ones, please. But yeah, Pocket Monsters is basically another name for Pokemon. In the Japanese version, there is a word for Pokemon called let me see, Munsatu. If any Japanese guy watches this video, please inform me of how to pronounce that. I'm not really great. But yeah, Pocket Monsters is another name for a Pokemon franchise, and it is the previous name used in the Japanese version of Pokemon, as you can see on this on this little manga cover. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to be very unbiased here because, this is one of my favorite franchises, but I hate Coma Theory so bad. But basically, the Ash Ketchum Pokemon theory is a theory that Ash Ketchum fell off a bicycle, and then as a result, the rest of the Pokemon series has been a delusion of grandeur, or just been this illusion in Bro's head. Coma theories are stupid, and there has yep, just I don't like. In fact, just to show you how stupid they are, here's some examples of little pieces of art of characters in Code Theory. I would say Pokemon since its inception has always been the target of religious anger, especially when you're talking about the Christian and the Abrahamic communities. Many Christian parents especially have had issues with Pokemon, including issues with the concept of evolution, issues with Pokemon concepts, and as a huge result, as a result, Pokemon has been banned in schools, countries, and there have been times when it's even been banned in communities. I remember in my old school, yeah, they banned the Pokemon books from the book fair, which was personally my biggest tragedy ever. I cried. Uh, Moving on. Shinies. Shinies are the most expensive Pokemon. Let's say they are the ultra rare, whether it be the cards, the games, no movies, cards, games, movies. They're always the cream of the crop, best Pokemon. Now, when I was a young kid, quick trivia, I thought for some reason Pikachu was a shiny. I remember I would see my brother play Pokemon Go, and I would always think that if he caught a Pikachu, it would be this huge achievement. It is not. Pokemon has a lot of creepy and absurd entries, which, some even disturb me, but I'll let you be the judge of that. The Great Pokemon War is an alleged, and I mean very alleged, and Nintendo has yet to confirm it, war that happened before the events of Red and Blue between people that involved Pokemons. All we know is that, allegedly, one of the trainers in Pokemon Red and Blue was part of the war. Yeah, I'll make a long video on this in the future. Any members of the Digimon fan base want to talk? Oh, no Digimon fans? Then Digimon ripped off. Goodbye, sir. System was a Winter Trading was a system where you could trade exchange with players in the 3DS era of Pokemon. This one, it did have the issue of transporting Hakamons, which crashed your game. I'll chew off that. Next. Okay, this entry is really exciting to talk about because Lavender Town has been a special interest of mine. It's probably one of my favorite conspiracies on this video. But Lavender Town is a phenomenon that results in people committing self-perish because of the frequency of the music. Here is an example or a sample. Skip ahead if you're not comfy. Oregon seizure controversy. It was a controversy in the Pokemon anime where a broadcast which involved flashing lights caused a lot of Japanese children, up to 200, to have a seizure. This incident, though thankfully not resulting in any deaths, had caused both episodes to be banned as well as the Pokemon card behind it. That's a topic for another day. Censored Pokemon cards is referring to cards of the Pokemon franchise that have been censored for various reasons. There are a few examples right here, but some examples of cards that are censored are the Jinx card, and also on the top left you can see the Misky card, which there's no reason to be explained. Some of these cards are they're still in circulation, but incredibly rare to find. Some believe the character of Red appears in the movie Detective Pikachu. This comes from a scene where the guy's wearing a red costume. Yeah, that's about it, really. So this one is kind of interesting, as Nuzlocks. Nuzlocks are a Pokemon challenge where somebody imposes challenges upon themselves, as Nintendo doesn't really have a specific Nuzlocke mode, but basically the imposed rules that one may put on themselves could be things such as no reviving a Pokemon that has already died. Also, there is, catching only the first wild Pokemon that appears in each area. It's basically a challenging playthrough of any game in Pokemon. Pikachu was a Nintendo 64 game that included a microphone as well as a recognition unit. This was a revolutionary game for the time, allowing you to talk to Pikachu. Of course, knowing the old technology they had, it was obviously not good. And this game was actually panned by many critics due to being horribly optimized. This game this game actually does have some This game actually is pretty interesting, I will not lie, because of the fact that you could talk to the Pikachu, and also it didn't really have an ending with the Pikachu leaving and coming back. The game Pokemon Go was probably Pokemon's greatest in the 2010s, probably Pokemon's greatest impact. Pokemon Go was a mobile game that allowed you to walk outside and get real Pokemon. It had extreme controversies due to being more relatively trendy game, and some of these controversies went really deep. For example, there was concerns of kids going outside their house and ending up in dangerous situations to get Pokemon. There was also Pokemon located in dangerous places, and there's that story about that guy who got 2 years in jail for playing Pokemon Go in church. I wonder if he's released. I'll check up on him now. Yep, he's released. That's good. Oh, he's in probation. Okay, that's great. How do I talk about this one? Just view this episode, Beauty and the Beach, at your own discretion. I cannot describe anything on YouTube without getting demonetized or my channel banned, and I really really want to have a career for 1,000 years. Believe me, there are other things I prefer talking about over this one. But the Pokemon Burger King toy apparently had a major design flaw. For you see, when you put it around your lips, there was no breathing hole, meaning that once it was around your mouth, they're suctioning in. Which, by the way, important tip if you're ever in a position where those are in your mouth, blow forward, like do not, because if you don't, if you blow backwards, it would end up choking you to death, and that is just awful. Rest in peace, any child to have died by this, as 2 children ended up dying, including one 13-year-old month-old baby. Okay, so I haven't played Pokemon Red or Blue in a while. I've been playing Pokemon Emerald, but this theory basically states in the Red and Blue versions, after you battle, you will encounter that battle again in Lavender Town, and during it, you will discover he does not send out his Raticate, which was used in the beginning. This means that it is believed that like you killed him in he killed his Raticate in the first battle, which, no offense, why would I kill such an ugly rat? Like, look at this photo, credit to Pedro. Well, just look at it. If I'm gonna kill any Pokemon, it's not gonna be that ugly ass rat. Humans turning into Pokemons is one of the rarest phenomenons within Pokemon, but I saw the movie Tusk over the weekend. Just a human turning into an animal is horrifying. But yeah, there are many Pokedex entries showing that people have been turned into Pokemon before, such as Iron Hands, which was a mortally wounded athlete that was kept alive by being turned into a cyborg. It's scary. I saw Tusk, I still got that image in my mind. Pokemon Creepy Black is one of my favorite creepypastas, I would say. It's definitely not as good as the coming entry on the list, which was, by the way, the reason I made this whole iceberg. Basically, Pokemon Creepy Black is a story about a guy who buys bootlegged Pokemon copies. And in the Pokemon Black, he discovers that there is one ghost among the starter Pokemon. Now, after doing this, he notices something that every time he attacks, the Pokemon are just too scared to move. Oh no. Now, after noticing they're too scared to move, he realizes in horror that the Pokemons. He realizes in horror that there's a flashing screen that says 3 years later, and apparently he comes back, notices in horror that he's in Lavender Town, and sees all the Pokemon he has cursed. This one is a great creepypasta, and I can provide links by the narration by Jamari, but I have to warn you guys. And I mean, I truly have to warn you. The coming entry is my favorite creepypasta of all time. Missing Go is one of the most popular Pokemon glitches, appearing in Red and Blue. Missing Go has actually appeared in other video games because of how famous of a glitch it is, including The Binding of Isaac and Vampire Survivors. It is a programming glitch in which players can encounter this Pokemon on screen due to a graphical anomaly. The issue with Missing Go is that they can even be captured, traded, and even obtained by many Pokemon specials, though sadly it is not an official Pokemon that players are meant to encounter. Nintendo has referenced it in other games, referring Pokemon as missing pose. Team Rocket versus Team Plasma ban. No, it was not really a ban, more like a non-airing of something. It was basically happened during the Pokemon the series Black and White episode, where they were meant to adapt the characters of Team Plasma into an episode which was Team Rocket versus Team Plasma. The episode would have featured Team Rocket and dueling with Team Plasma. However, there was an issue where the end of the episode would have the city being threatened by explosives, which, during the time the 2011 Tokyo earthquake and Tohoku earthquake and tsunami happened. I have Tourette's, my bad. Occurred directly before the episode's broadcast. As a result, the episodes were never aired and instead favored for another two-parter. However, as a result, the plot changed significantly, and though the episodes never aired, the episode scripts were revealed by an unknown buyer. Yellow. The character of Jin from Pokemon has been accused of blackface, and this is no surprise. When you look at the original design, it does appear. I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, it does appear to be looking like blackface, though this is a highly contentious topic. Some people saying it's not meant to be in that way. But yeah, personally, I like the new design better. The purple just fits. Meowth Party was basically just a Pokemon GameCube tech demo at the 2000 Nintendo Space World. It featured Pokemon dancing to Mew singing and performing a song with a guitar. The song is used as the ending of Pokemon, with the ending of the Pokemon the ending theme song for the Pokemon anime series. Meowth would see dancing with associates. This is not really this is actually pretty cool. We should check out the video. This theory, though, is basically stating that the Pokemon character, Mr. Bonding, is a Ouija Pie, or an EDP-445. I can't say the term directly, but basically the reason that some people believe this is because he meets you in a hotel room, tells you about his O powers, which we know what that means, and then Bro is telling you about, and then the screen goes black and runs off. I'm just saying, somebody needs to call the FBI. Pokemon Lost Silver is a creepypasta that also has a custom game attached to it that was known to have been early exposed to 4chan. Honestly, I used to be a huge Pokepasta fan, and still am, but I don't know how this one always skipped me. I even is going to the other ones, but I saw a really cool Pokemon ROM game, which after this video I really want to play, so I can't talk about this one. This one is really exciting to talk about because one funny story, the Hypno Kidnaps Kids or the Hypno's Lullaby creepypasta song always disturbed me. It scared me so bad. I remember I used to have nightmares listening to that shit. But it was one of my favorite creepypastas. And it's one of my favorite creepypastas, but apparently it's not really a creepypasta, but more confirmed. Hypno does have entries showing he's kidnapped children, and also it's a hypnosis Pokemon. What could you expect? Okay, on the more lighthearted entries, not racist, not lighthearted, on a way more absurd entry, somebody named their Pokemon the spooky N-word during Nintendo World. So mean. But yeah, this one I will not dive into as not a good topic. Okay, this is an entry of Pokemon that is also personal to me because Sabrina scared me shitless. The idea of being stuck in a doll was alarming. I didn't want that shit ever happening to me, but also there's something I really fucking hated that episode that I really want to talk about. First off, how the fuck is she a gym leader even though she can even though she can talk to Pokemon with psychic abilities? That is just stupid. It's the most unfair advantage ever. Also, she locked her mom in a doll for 10. She imprisoned her mom, and her mom's like, "Don't blame Sabrina, dude. If my children put me in a like my children imprisoned me for 10 years, you best believe the moment I'm getting out of there, I'm I'm not gonna be happy. Funny story, this whole entry was the main reason I chose this iceberg. This is actually my absolute favorite poke pasta. Like, this is among my favorites. This is basically the story about, it's not even like a poke pasta, it's basically about a boy's life. It's basically about this guy's life as it like slowly progresses, and also about how he names a Pokemon Jessica after going home from school. You should read this really much. It was written by the late Cameron, but I really want to like spend a minute of this video to discuss Cameron. When I read this poke pasta, like I was in school, and apparently I was like listening to it, and I thought it was like the greatest thing I've ever read. I really wanted to meet the creator of this poke pasta because it just influenced me so well. I'm gonna get a little teary-eyed here, but when I looked at his entry, I noticed he died of pneumonia in 2015, and he was so young. I was so sad. But yeah, just special thank you, Cameron. I know you are deceased, but wherever you are, just know your story influenced me. I'll give some links in the comments. Though one more thing, this is such an interesting or such like a beautiful story to me personally that if this video gets like 20 likes, I'll make a full video discussing and analyzing this poke pasta. Among the things on this earth I really hate is PETA. Though I'm not offended by this, it's so pandering and stupid, but yeah, I really don't like the company PETA because of things I will not discuss here, but my god, this is basically a parody game. I have to save the Pokemons, and this is a horrible parody game. Like, I'm not even saying that because of bias. Like, if it was good, I could have tried playing it. This is actually awful. Like, really, like, they didn't put any effort. It was shot out. It's slop. Next one. Listen, huge fuck you to Nintendo Power just because of the fact that, like, okay, so the theory was you could turn this Pokemon into a Yoshi through doing a process of collecting all 150 Pokemon, okay, and then after you collect all 150 Pokemon, you need to trade with a player of another player, except for the Mew for some reason, but also, dude, this is just asshole behavior. Like, imagine working that hard for something that doesn't even exist. That is psychological pain on the mass scale. Okay, this theory's title pisses me off. Mew and Ditto are both 8.8 pounds and have these many things, but how dare you call Mew a failed, how dare you call Ditto a failed Mew clone? Because the thing is, Ditto is successful. He can change into anything it can change into anything it wants. It doesn't have a specific gender. It can change into anything. It is boundless. It is literally the most powerful Pokemon. It can become Mew, and you have the audacity to call it a failure. Fuck you. Where there is successful mobile games, there's shitty mobile knockoffs. We talked about the PETA one, but there are just so many ones, especially that came from like other countries, and these ones are not good. We have the Power World. Now we have Power World. That one's a real. Actually, no, I'm just joking. Please do not crucify me. Yeah, check the app, check the Play Store. You'll see many shitty Pokemon. Here are a few examples. This is literally a rip-off Pokemon game, and It's more like a Sonic game when I really looked into it. Like, it was basically just Sonic with Pikachu. Dude, this game, as much it looks like fucking ass. Ass, I tell you. It looks like horrible. But, like, it gives me such nostalgia because I remember playing these types of games. And my first ever video game was, like, one of those, like, shitty... It was one of those, like, shitty 500 game consoles. So it's kind of nostalgic also. This entry is probably the most interesting rabbit hole I recently discovered, but this is basically an unlicensed Pokemon game made for the Mega Drive and SNES, and it's actually for some reason like a platformer, just exactly like the previous game. But also there's another important thing that I just always realized. But also here was something funny. There was even Pokemon Gold Silver for the SNES, and even Pocket Monster 2. Like, who was asking for these? I'm just saying if there was Pocket Monsters for the SSE and the S2, but no Half-Life 3, then I don't know, man. That's someone in the sky hates us. Pokegods is a term that is meant to be for fake Pokemon that were speculated to exist and were supposedly accessible in the Generation 1 games. The term was popular with fans as it continued on, and apparently most Pokegods are near invincible, and these Pokemons are just a rumor, sadly. Though I think Mew is very, very, very close to being a Pokegod. Pokemon soft locks are kind of a way to get yourself locked in a way in Pokemon that you simply cannot escape, or that the game is finished. Do not recommend this at all. But also, I have been soft locked by total mistake. It is not fun, not fun at all. But do I do use ROMs? Don't tell Nintendo. Glitch cities in Pokemon are actually a really interesting concept, but basically these cities sometimes occur, especially when the game cartridge is damaged, or the CD is damaged. But basically these are cities that are completely destroyed or completely glitched out. They always have they always have an air. They always have a way to be incredibly creepy to look at. Just imagine visiting this or seeing this in Pokemon. Nightmare fucking view. This is actually a really cool Pokemon fact, or something really cool I learned recently. But apparently, during the Battle of Phoebe, if you for a split second, you can see the Ghost Girl just in the corner, which this is a detail that you can miss if you do not pay attention. Though I was a bit confused, but apparently, according to a Reddit theory, this is actually the girl's grandma, which, considering she specializes in ghost Pokemon, nice touch. I will not entertain this topic, I won't touch this topic, and I am not going to discuss it. End of story. In the Pokemon anime, Ash has died a whopping 7 times. Yes, I'm talking 7 times. Now you may be wondering, how on earth is Bro still alive? Well, he died once, where apparently he was turned to stone in the battle of the Mew and the Mewtwo. But as you know, he got recovered, so that's pretty good. And also he died a total of 6 times in the episode Tower of Terror, where he was crushed by a chandelier. But those deaths ain't canon, if you know what I mean. And also, there's all the fan art he dies. Basically, bro is Kenny from South Park. Okay, this is more of an interesting fact rather than a creepy fact, but basically some fans realize that there's always one of the 5 Pokemons that have a Chinese zodiac. And this is actually something really interesting. For example, the dragon is Charmander, the rat is Sigwidin, and also there is D-Pig, who is based off the pig, Fennekin, who is dog, Tiger, who is Litten. Oh my god, I have a Litten stat. I actually have a little Litten figure in my room. That's actually pretty cool. Multiple Pokemon have been man-made or created by human beings, and the Pokemon actually do have some specific ones that are actually really common. For example, it's very common knowledge that Muck is actually somewhat man-made. There's also Porygon, who is just computer data, and this is actually something really interesting because, when you realize it, it's basically like The Boys when they're basically making the superheroes of the Compound V, except there's no natural. But it's actually one of my favorite parts of Pokemon lore. Pikachu has spoken English several times, or Pikachu has spoken, so well, we know Pikachu's dialect is basically Pikachu. There have been dialogues where they have spoken. For example, in the Pokemon movie, where Pikachu spoke after Ash was dying, though, Ash still is alive, so that's pretty cool. And also, there's actually Pikachu language, because Pikachu does move his words around. So when he says Pikachu, it means my name is Pikachu. That's actually really cool to think about, but that shit's gonna take forever. I'll make a class for that actually in the future, but yeah, let's move to something else. I always say when people have this discussion about why is Ash always 10, the issue with Ash, man, the Pokemon creators just don't want him to age. It's that simple. But one of my favorite theories when I was looking into this topic is that Ash saw a Hoo-Oo, and apparently the thing about these Hoo-Oo Pokemons is that apparently they promise anyone who sees them eternal happiness. And what's bigger to Ash than to always be on a Pokemon journey where he is always in his most joy? So maybe the Hoo-Oo kept him 10 forever. How cute. Okay, this theory is just, I'm not gonna give a picture to it because this one, it is pretty cool. It's objectively false. Now this does pose a good question though. Are the Pokemon named after their sounds, or do they sound their names? But yeah, sometimes Pokemons are just named after the sound they make, like in the case of Pikachu. But other times, they're just named. Otherwise, they're just named off specific attributes or specific, key. Though the final entry on our list, this is actually a really interesting moral question, or just an interesting Pokemon question to ask, because what do we define as catching them all? Some Pokemon do exist though are extinct or not even in the game, so by that, are we technically saying that we can never truly catch them all in Pokemon? And also, by catching them all, do we catching one of each species, or catching every single Pokemon in the game? And so we do that, shit's gonna break our save file. We can't just be collecting every Pokemon. This question, it's gonna hurt my brain, I can't think of it. thank you so much for watching the video. Please keep in mind that like I tried to get this video out before Halloween, but as you know, Halloween deadline passed and I just really was rushing this video. It is my first Iceberg video, so I want to get some feedback and critiques. And also, I'm really sorry if I skipped on an entry. Some entries were just like really like I didn't think they would be interesting, or like, you know, they didn't have like, you know, that clear information about them, and I needed to get this out before Christmas, but like, you know, school happened. Sorry, not Christmas, Halloween. I have a bit of a stuttering problem, as you can see, but thank you so much for watching. Also, before we go, a little bit of homework.